tonight to turn up the heat and get some blank canvases into gorgeous masterpieces. We are just starting round number one. We have our first 6 artists up at the easels, and they have 20 minutes only on the clock. My name is Morgan Booth, and I am joined by the one, the only Mona Faroki, who actually just painted in the 2023 National Championship representing San Francisco. Hey, Mona.
Hey Morgan, excited to be here.
It's good vibes in Wichita Falls, for sure. All
It
right,
is an
who are we?
impressively big venue.
Yeah, it's massive, and really, Wichita Falls is such a strong art battle community. So many people come out, and it is just super, super well attended. Here we are at easel number one with Peggy Klein, and Peggy started her practice as a teacher and now is dedicating herself to her artwork. And we can see that she has laid down quite a bit of blue paint. And we're seeing this kind of void in the center.
Quick coverage for less than 2 minutes.
Right? I'm always kind of floored by what artists are able to get done in 90 seconds, even just in terms of like coverage.
I have a I have a guess of what it might be turning out to be.
I feel like I might also have that guess. I think maybe we're gonna head into like a floral territory. Is that what you're thinking?
More on the animal side, I'm guessing.
Oh. Here we are with Emma Ludwig at easel number 6. And this is actually Emma's 3rd art battle, and she describes her work as being illustrative, but with a whimsical twist. What are you thinking of this start, Mona?
Also, a lot of coverage. I'm just very intimidated by covering a wide area of my canvas in less than 2 minutes, which these two artists already have, and taking notes. And I just love those spots of color that she's just putting in just bit by bit.
Yeah, it can definitely be intimidating when you get a lot of paint on the canvas in the first few minutes because there's not really a lot of going back after that. You kind of have to work with that wet on wet.
Exactly.
I feel like maybe these are going to end up being florals. Maybe I'll just say that I think all of them are florals until we end up with a floral painting. And here we are with Joe Peaky Kundert. And Joe is a first-time art battler, and wow, super, super fast.
All right, guys, keep it moving. I know you're enraptured, you're enthralled.
Over with Sierra Archer, and this is also Sierra's 3rd art battle. And looks like she's going for kind of a pop art approach right now with the pink and the blue. I think that's going to be a banana. We're kind of getting a bit of a split view right now.
I love how both paintings have their own contrast going on, one with the black and the foreground of what seems to be a landscape, and then the contrast of hues on the other side with the blue and the pink.
Yeah, we've got one that's definitely leaning more into the like darker and more neutralized colors that are toned out, and then one that's like blam, super pop arty, super saturation.
Two different types of contrast side by side.
And I have to say, I'm definitely drawn to Sierra's piece right now. I am such a saturation junkie. I really love a bold color dose. And looks like she's going in here with some sort of drawing element as well, What do you think that is?
That's a very high opacity pastel. I'm trying to figure out what it is, but
Maybe
it's
it's
not
oil?
interfering with, I don't know, it's not interfering with the layer of color that's underneath it. That's the paint that's still fresh, but it's still drawing with such a high opacity.
Yeah, I'm totally like craning my head and trying to figure it out right now. Definitely feeling the art nerd vibes of being like, what is that? I'm already really drawn in by this mixed media use here.
Yes, I have this feeling that I'm gonna be trying to experiment with my pastels tonight after this.
All right, here we are with V Vaughn, and V is off to a super strong start. This piece is already really impactful. Any parts that are jumping out at you?
You can see that she's drawing an inspiration from her reference picture, but putting her own take on it.
Yeah, I always
But
love. Sorry, go ahead.
so go ahead, Morgan.
I always love seeing when artists bring their references and we get a chance to kind of sneak peek what it is, but at the same time, we get like a translation of what the image goes through in the artist's brain to become their art.
Absolutely. You can see that she decided to put a touch of cold in the background to make it pop, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. It definitely sets off that gorgeous orange that she's got going on. And I think she's actually painting entirely with paper towel right now, too.
Is that what's up?
Yeah, I was reading in her artist bio that she uh, only uses brushes basically to like create small accents, but for the most part, the heavy lifting of applying the paint in her work is almost entirely placed with rags and paper towel to get unique texture. Oh, this piece is really cool. So Sherry Ann Pierce, definitely rocking this portrait. And I finally got my wish. We have some florals going on.
I also have a thing for roses and bold red and black lines in paintings.
Yeah, me too. I'm just like, give me all of the contrast. That's so what I'm drawn to. And we're getting such a great level of contrast and design here from these squirrels and the roses. What do you like about that black and red combo?
Something very expressive about it, not blending any of the lines, but just very boldly laying them down and making a whole composition that's very unforgiving. Like there's no going back when you work with bold lines and bold colors. You really don't get to blend it out or put other layers of color over it. You just have that to work off of.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of room for forgiveness when you don't have a lot of blending elements. And that's something that I really like. I feel like there's some bravery in that.
Absolutely.
And I gotta say, I totally did not expect this blue to hit the background, but I'm digging it.
I like it.
If you have not done so already, please make sure that you are
Oh my
More
registered.
gosh,
floral.
sweet.
Okay? If you do not know what I'm talking about, please visit Miss Debbie.
I totally did not expect this piece.
Make sure that you are signed
So
up.
we have floral and animal elements there,
Yeah.
but we're both right.
Oh my god, so cute. Is this like a little? It looks like maybe it's like a little piggy planter that's like holding the flowers, maybe.
think there's still something in the white area that's going to be covering and completing the whole narrative.
Yeah, maybe some foliage or leaves or something that are going to connect the flowers. But half of me is kind of hoping that this shape is like troll hair, like, you know, the classic
I
the
love
90s
that.
trolls. But this piece is really whimsical, and I'm definitely enjoying it. I feel like there's just such a sweetness here.
There is.
And I always really enjoy too seeing artists bracing their hand with their pinky. It's just like little pro tips like that.
Uh-oh.
And we're back. So she's definitely getting more into refinement with our little piggy face down here. I'm wondering whether or not she's going to be tightening up the flowers as well, or if she's going to be intentionally leaving those a little bit looser.
We have 8 more minutes to go, so a lot can happen in that time.
You would know, as a championship level painter, what does it feel like to be up at the easel when there's like maybe halfway left?
Halfway is still a lot. Like, if you come up with a good foundation, the rest of it will come easily, but it really depends on what happens in the first 10 minutes, really.
That's a good art battle pro tip. Using the first 10 minutes to kind of establish the major themes or shapes.
Exactly.
So I wished for florals, and this round really delivered.
Very much got
Really,
florals.
really pleased with this piece by Emma, and also impressed with the level of opacity that she's able to get with these white petals over all of that wet washy paint in the background.
If I'm seeing right, there's a raised texture there that I think is giving it an extra pop.
Yeah, definitely seeing some texture, getting some ridges on those petals. And here we are back with Joe again. And Joe also has some texture going on. Oh, this is fine. I think the best part of that is how nonchalantly he's doing it. Usually when you see artists doing spatter, it's pretty aggressive. He just seems really chill about it.
He really is. Like, he's in his meditative zone right now. He has his drink, he's just slowly taking it in.
Yeah, I imagine this is like his exact stance and vibe would be in the studio, just like super chill, feeling really comfortable creating.
And his hand gesture just now was like, okay, I will proceed with the rest of it.
Right? And the crowd picks up on body language too. So if an artist is seeming relaxed and confident, it often can win points with the crowd.
Absolutely. I've also seen the other way around when an artist is so fiercely zoned in and they're just um, doing everything at a very high speed and the audience engages with that as well. I think both body languages have their own audience. Like, some people want some calm and zen, and then some people want more fierce action.
Absolutely. Some people want to have that kind of insight into what would it be like if I was stepping into this artist's studio versus others who are like, okay, give me a show.
Exactly.
So I really love this piece by
I love
Sierra.
it as well.
The frame.
The frame, the yellow frame, I would consider this a complete painting at this point. If the timer were to be off, I'd be happy where it is right now.
Me too. It's so bold. The frame is everything to me, especially that she didn't connect it all the way at the corners.
Mhm.
There's something that I really, really like about that. It brings just a little bit of an element of tension. And I really like the kind of sparing highlights that she's got going on the banana itself.
hmm And I wonder if the yellow frame was also done with one of those pastels, because if so, that's a very high opacity pastel.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hit Sierra up on Instagram and slide into her DMs like, what pastel brand is that?
Especially with the white.
Yeah, and like being mindful too that this paint is probably still a little bit tacky, like maybe a touch sticky. So layering anything over top, that's got to be a strong medium. So I'm sure that she practiced with that. Oh my goodness. This piece from V is just singing.
I wonder if there are different textures that she's found with like rags have their own different textures, paper towels have a different like a more gritty texture, and she works with that.
The way yeah, like I'm just kind of in my own world right now watching her do this. Like it looks so mature for a 20-minute painting. Like this is really sophisticated. So satisfying to watch. Wow, a huge amount of progress here as well from Sherry Ann. The way that she's used the black as a shading element here by watering it down a lot, it's definitely giving it a watercolor quality.
Also, I also see eyes in the center of those roses that are drawing attention. Like I can see multiple eyes right now. I'm not sure
Oh,
if it's just me.
no, I'm seeing it too, especially in the one that's right on the side, almost butted up to the edge with that drip going through it.
Yeah,
Wild.
it,
Yeah,
and
this
there's another white element on the other side of her face that I'm wondering if there it is. Okay.
I love when that happens. When you're like, what are you gonna do there? And then they just right away. It's almost like the Gupera. Such a great connective ability from that portrait there. And back with Peggy here. So sweet. I love this piece.
It has a very warm energy.
And it's feeling like very, like it's referencing retro pottery to me.
And I'm noticing a lot of these paintings have a blue background behind them. We have a very common theme going on here.
Yeah, florals and blue. All right, getting our countdown.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brushes down.
All right, we have just begun our second round of Art Battle in Wichita Falls. I am here with the one, the only, Mona Faroki. Mona, so happy to have you on the stream today. It's really cool to get the perspective of an artist who has painted at such a high level of competition in Art Battle.
Hi, Morgan. Thank you. Really excited to be here.
And I also just really love the way that you kind of pick up on so many different elements that I wouldn't necessarily think of. That's why the stream is so fun. Everybody gets to see things up close and get different perspectives.
Absolutely. Like everybody has a different perspective. Like while we were in between rounds, I could overhear people in the venue talk about the paintings and describe the elements that they're seeing, and it was really interesting.
So cool, right? We get to really be a fly on the wall on the stream. Oh, this is interesting.
And
sorry, go ahead.
I'm just so enchanted by the deconstructed lines that are just appearing here so effortlessly.
Me too. Like it's very. She is lifting the marker, but it's very like contour drawing, like really very intuitive.
I think she is drawing the painter on her left.
Oh my god. That's
She's
so
looking
good.
to her left. Because I could see her looking to her left, but I couldn't see a reference picture.
And she has a living, breathing reference right beside her, the artist that's painting right next to her. That's so awesome.
This is amazing. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
So good. Oh man. Like, how intense is it as the subject also to be like, you're painting an art battle and you're also being painted while you're painting an art battle?
I don't think Brittany realizes that right now.
Yeah, I don't think she's aware, and I think it's going to be such a cool moment. Hopefully, we get to see when she discovers that. Hopefully, at the end of the round.
Hopefully.
Really digging this lime green color here.
I think we are also going to have a creature and floral moment in this painting.
Yes, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So Brittany had a really fun anecdote that she included with her artist application, and it was that she started a lemonade stand when she was a child and got tired of selling lemonade and instead started selling drawings, and that was her start as an artist.
I love that. It's like
Me too.
in an artist's nature to do so.
Does she have a reference taped up there?
I can see a reference up there. It seems to be like a creature.
Ivan Gray. Wow, lots and lots of water on the canvas. There's something that's just so beautiful about the organic lines of really, really drippy paint.
And you can still see the outline of the sketch underneath it, which is giving us a really good hint of what's going to come next.
Yeah, I'm always interested in seeing how the artists like build their pieces. What elements do they lay down first? Oh, this is fun. He's also using paper towel as a textural element. And in this case, he's using it to kind of absorb some of the water that he's taken, that he's put on there, and the paper towel is actually wicking away some of the pigment that was there from the paint.
Curious how the paint is going to layer over all that water dripping.
I know. I almost want to have if I was him, I'd want to have a hand fan maybe to just be fanning it to get it to the next level of dryness to be able to layer over top. That's got to be a challenging way to paint.
But I think he's just working with it.
And this is actually already looking quite like it's going to be quite close to his studio work that is often featuring a lot of really organic watercolor work and then birds over top. Fantastic. Yes, Tracy. Excellent. So it's definitely giving ET.
Tapping into the nostalgia.
But also there's like an element on the top of ET's head. Maybe it's gonna be like a hair bouffant or something.
Probably a variation of E.T., like E.T.'s cousin.
Yes.
More
I,
original take on E.T.
yeah, I dig it. It's
And then
always a bit
also,
of a sorry, go ahead.
no, so go ahead.
It's always a bit of a risk doing a pop culture inspired piece because some people it's going to resonate with them on a visual level, and then some people it's going to resonate with them on the character level, and then they judge it on whether or not they like the character. Like, if you're not an ET fan, you can't vote for this painting, you know?
Then it comes down to the technique and the performative aspect of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to point out is those splashes of red and maroon on the painting on the right.
Oh, surprise! Yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah,
So
that
much
orange,
happening in one frame.
right? That orange just is like singing against that blue from Aaron. Wow,
Wow.
this is looking fantastic.
More blue.
More blue, and as you know, I am here for it. Uh, for anyone who isn't familiar with my work, I love to paint in blue, and so often at the art battle stage, I'm always fighting my blue bias.
Maybe the artist is aware of that and she's giving a nod to you.
So this is Elena Hill, and Elena is actually 18 and already is quite accomplished in her skills. Just seeing the way that she's putting in these highlights is really, I'm finding a lot of satisfaction in that.
And I like the wispiness of the brush strokes on the whole canvas. Like you can see the shadow of her neck and her and the model's hair, but it's in a way that blends with the background as well.
Yeah, definitely. It like creates a sensation of the character like emerging from a mist almost. Oh, that's my favorite too. I love a dark upper lip. Like
Mm.
the way that the shadow falls on the face and that the upper lip is almost always darker. That's one of my favorite points of contrast on the face.
Wasn't that a bison as well in the first round?
Bison, or I think it was like a steer.
I love how these are all going hand in hand together, all these pieces.
Yeah, you can definitely get a sense of like local culture a little bit, I think, from watching the artists up here
That's
and
a
the
really
things
good
they
point.
choose. Even when we were looking at Joe Kiki Kundertz with the dark landscape, at the very end he had put a lonely kind of cactus into his desert landscape. So these guys are definitely taking a lot of inspiration from local culture.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things I overheard the audience talk about, that lonely cactus in the distance.
yeah, such a choice to make it just the single. That definitely brings it more into having a narrative. And Sarah is definitely deciding to emphasize with texture here. She's definitely using the strokes in the fur to really emphasize that it's fur. Fantastic, fantastic. There's
I
so much
love
energy.
I love how expressive this is.
I love how she's even got the detail of the color that Brittany's using.
That that's a really good point.
This is amazing.
And what's
Oh,
interesting is that she's painting the moments she is standing in right now, which even it adds to it. Like the colors she's choosing to put into it, it's how she feels about this moment right now.
absolutely. This is like so meta right now. And I feel like this is going to really resonate with audience members as well because everyone here is experiencing the same thing to a certain degree. And so, for anyone who chooses to purchase this piece, they're going to have a real symbol that's very descriptive of the memory that they're going to have of tonight.
Exactly. And if someone were to paint me during an art battle, I would definitely get into a bidding war over that painting.
And she's even got Ivan behind Brittany.
This is awesome.
It's so good. It's so good. I have we've seen artists do paintings of their fellow competitors before, but I don't think that I've ever seen one in this style. And like, it's very effectively capturing the immediacy of the moment. And I've never seen anyone paint two artists, two more competitors. Oh, I understand now.
I know it's a creature.
I think that, and yeah, I think that it is someone that's pulling a shirt over their head, but it does feel very creaturey. So we shall see.
That does look like it.
And then I think that the brown that's on the torso at the bottom, I think is hair that's underneath the shirt.
Oh, and the red is the bralette. I see it now. I see it
Yeah.
now.
I feel like I also was thinking creature right off the bat, mostly because of the color association of that like lime green. It's like, oh, we're going lime green. It's gotta mean that we're going somewhere weird.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that reference picture, because it's so small, it tricked my eyes into thinking it's maybe a mouse or a creature, but
Mhm.
I think my eyes were tricked at first.
That's the fun part of art battle is watching things emerge and take shape. There's a really cool energy in this piece by Ivan. What are your thoughts?
I feel like the bird's expression is just screaming chaos and it's coming out like in bursts of color and, like you said, energy.
Mm-hmm. So funny and so endearing. Our ET over there. Oh, I like the highlights that Ivan's popping in and how heavy they are. They're like, the brush is loaded up and he's leaving a lot of white paint trailing behind in these thin lines, but they're quite raised.
I'm very, very encaptured by that painting right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a thought about this ET painting. You did mention that if someone's not a fan of ET, they
Mm-hmm.
may turn to the style or something else to vote for it. But I can see that there's a lot of emotions in these eyes right now. They're very much alive.
You know, it almost feels like, you know, that famous National Geographic photo where the woman is in the veil and she's making super intense eye contact?
Yes, that kind of energy. So even if you're not into ET, you will still be captured by it for a few good moments.
Yeah, especially with those super big eyes. That's very, it's a lot of strong eye contact. And you can tell that Tracy's also enjoying painting the piece as well.
Yes, I caught a glimpse of her just singing to the music and having her own moment.
So good. It would have been funny having her right beside Shirley and then Shirley painting a miniature ET.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is just fantastic. This piece is really making such incredible use of contrast.
And I'm just obsessed with the texture of the hair in contrast to the wispiness of the background. And that is just all blue. So simple.
Yeah, she's doing such a great job achieving all of these different layers of depth and then giving us difference within the same shade. Like how you were pointing out with the way that she's using texture to create a point of difference for the
Hmm.
hair. Like it's so different from everything else that she's doing. She's got the wash in the background. We've got very blended out features in the face, and then we've got more rough texture in the hair. I think she's playing all of her cards in one color, and it's fantastic.
Also, there's something about her attitude. It's very subtle, but it's a kind of a je ne sais quoi. Like she's using her hand as a palette and she's just constantly keeping eye contact with her painting. There's something about it that I'm very enjoying right now.
Yeah, there's like an intensity to her connection with the piece. Some very interesting design elements being added with our black border here.
Well, it's interesting because I was wondering it because you can see in her reference picture that Cal is wearing a accessory on the forehead, like a Celtic knot. I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering if she was going to paint that, but she instead decided to use those Celtic patterns in the borders.
Yeah, I wonder whether or not in our last 30 seconds that would make an appearance. I feel like that would be a high risk move, but I'm kind of
Possibility.
I kind of want it. But I'm also not the one that would be rushing that, right?
Right.
All right, getting our countdown here.
4, 3, 2, 1. Brushes down.
We now officially have 20 minutes on the clock for our third and final round of our battle in Wichita Falls, Texas tonight. My name is Morgan Booth, and I am here with Mona Faroki, our San Francisco champion, and we are just having a great time checking out all of the amazing art tonight. Wouldn't you say, Mona?
I just love the entire energy happening here with all 12 artists to begin with. So exciting.
And in our final round, we have V. Vaughn, Cherry Ann Pierce, Elena Hill and Shirley Steele. Right now we are checking out Vivon. And again, she's starting with the paper towel. I love it.
Taking so many notes here from her technique.
Right? This makes me want to paint looser. And I mean that in the best way. Like she's getting she's able to really capture things so quickly.
And the randomness of the patterns that come out with the paper towel.
Yeah, like it's not, there's no predictability with the texture of the paper towel as far as I'm sure she can tell, but as far as I can tell, and it like lends this really incredible organic quality. Like it's not as linear as brush strokes.
And to achieve some texture like this with brush strokes, you would need to have at least like 20 times more strokes to achieve these strokes, whereas with just one whip of a paper towel, she just lands all of that in a split second.
Wild. And it holds water differently than a brush even too. Like I'm totally art nerding out over Vivon's technique. Over with Sherry Ann Pierce, and looks like we're going to be treated to another portrait from Sherry Ann. Off to a good start. Looks like we're just establishing our portraits, or sorry, our proportions here.
Like that, we have no idea where this is gonna go. So far, it is just a face emerging from the white abyss, and then we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's interesting watching her work outward in this way. Usually, when we're seeing a portrait, I feel like we're used to the face shape or the jawline or the shape of the head being the thing that happens first, but she's kind of letting this bloom outward from the central features.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she has a reference, but the proportions seem to be very well thought out.
That, of course, is always the risk that you're kind of taking, of whether or not you bring a reference, or whether or not you bring two references. You know, like, are you going to jinx yourself?
Sometimes references can be very counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm. And deciding whether or not you have a full plan for your second round piece, and the confidence of whether or not you think you're going to get into the final round. There's a whole lot of mental stuff going on in preparation for Art Battle.
Absolutely.
And looks like we're getting a totally different technique here from Elena.
I'm getting very ethereal, spooky, eerie vibes.
Yeah, I agree. There's like a ghostly kind of quality with just a few swipes of violet amongst all of the like inky grays.
And she does have a reference up there, but it's so hard for me to tell what it is.
I think it will continue to reveal itself. Okay, so Shirley is embarking on the same concept, I think, from her first round. And this time she's going to be capturing Sherry Ann and Vivon, I think. I think I see Sherry Ann's hair starting to make an appearance with that iconic blonde.
This gives me an idea that it would be so cool that at every art battle there would be a live painter painting all of the artists while they're up there.
Like a posterity painter, and just
Exactly.
like document the event. I love that. I think that's really cool. So I'm gonna
Yeah, I
go
want to see
see.
more of this.
We're just gonna hire Shirley to travel the country, documenting our battles. Yeah, she's doing a fantastic job, and I think it'll be hard to match the incredible energy that she infused into her first round piece. So we'll have to see how this one unfolds. Back over with Vivon here. Dang.
So
This is coming
beautiful.
together so quickly. I know that we have a little bit of a glare that is obscuring our angle of the painting just slightly, but it really has come together so incredibly quickly. Like, this is a 7-minute painting, and this feels quite realized.
I think she's sticking to the same creature theme.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing a bison, and I love the way that she's using blue in the shadows instead of black. There's a richness there, especially with the blue contrasting the warmer tones that she's got going on.
It does take a next level understanding of color theory to skip the black and only use colors to create that illusion of a shadow, which is a very pro move.
Super, super pro. I think Vivon has a really good shot tonight at taking the win. This is going to be a really difficult final round.
I could never get enough of roses.
And it looks like they're more converging than the previous portrait. Like, this is feeling more like a crown almost. And I'm getting like a sense of almost like a religious iconography here.
That could be it.
Something that I'm also finding impactful with this piece is just the slight head tilt.
Like, as a fan of minimal artwork, I would love it if this painting just stopped right after this black brush stroke.
I totally see what you mean. Yeah, it's really beautiful, and there's like a haunting quality that's present right now.
And it says a lot. Like, I'm a huge fan of artists who start with a really strong foundation, and that's what I meant, because we're at the 10-minute mark right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if the artist were to just stop right here, that foundation is great enough to have a good quality image. Just
Yeah, I definitely get what you mean. I think that both Vivon and Sherrianne could stop at this point, and we'd be like, okay, like, those are solid. Ooh, it's happening on Elena's canvas. I feel like we're getting our reveal here. The back bend on this dancer that she's capturing is just so graceful and lovely.
and the tutu, just the white hint. it just gives it the very fluffy feeling.
And you've done quite a few paintings of dancers as well, right? I remember you did dancers, I think, in the San Francisco final.
I did, and it was a harder challenge that I thought it would be because you're creating a narrative when a person is dancing. They are usually dancing out emotions and feelings, and there's usually a narrative. And it's like harder than getting a facial expression right because there's you have to capture that movement, the whole essence of it and the story behind it, which right here I can absolutely feel that. It's not a stiff pose. It's a very dynamic moment in a dancer's choreography.
Especially with the head just like tilted all the way up to the sky. Back with Shirley here, and I'm just having so much fun watching these pieces come to life.
I think she's having fun too. It's like the whole floor is on fire in her painting.
Definitely. the, the drop cloth is hot lava. I think one of my favorite things about the first round was that we were able to see a little bit of the canvas from the artist. And so I think she's working a little bit harder this time to capture the personality of the painters because it's more focused on the painters' bodies as opposed to what's on their canvas.
And I wonder if the two artists on her side are guessing, oh, is she painting me now? Now that they know she painted another fellow painter in the previous round?
Yeah, and how that potentially would be affecting them in their performance. Like, are they? I guess I can't really say they're under the observer effect because they are under the observer effect of hundreds of people right now.
Yeah,
So I
but are
suppose,
they posing?
yeah. So I suppose surely painting them is it is an additional factor, but I can't say the observer effect because that's already quite present. I also really enjoy watching the tilt her head back and forth to create her judgments. I just feel like I'm like the way that she's painting is so relatable to me that like she feels very involved with her piece.
With V right now?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. There's a there's a smile in her eyes, like she's very much enjoying every tab and every tap she's putting down.
And I'm sure that that's going to be translating to the audience as well, right? That joy. I'm wondering whether or not she's going to bring in that glow element that she had in the first qualifying piece that she brought in like at the last minute into the background, or if she's going to keep it this kind of neutral sandy color.
I think she's working with the midtones and the darker tones right now, and we might see a pop of brighter highlights in the painting. But if not, it still blends very well.
I agree. So we now have the addition of these blue drips from Shirley's piece. And there's a similarity to her first round qualifying piece, but I also feel like this is a distinctly different character.
I'm definitely getting more emotions from this piece. It's as if she did save the best for last.
Yeah, it's like even in just the subtleness of the slight head tilt in this character. And there's like more moisture in the eyes, I think, too. And I think she's using brush pens that are filled with paint.
I've
You
been
can
looking
draw.
at that, but it seems like she still dips her paintbrush.
Oh my gosh, is she picking it up and then squeezing the water onto what she just picked up?
So it's filled with water. It's not filled with paint.
Yeah.
This is cool. I love how I'm learning so many new tips and tricks from these artists tonight.
Right? Art Battle is just like mega crash course, and you get to see all of these crazy techniques that the artists, to them, it might seem normal, but to us, we're like, whoa, I've never seen that before.
So beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. We were so impressed with Elena's ability for contrast in her first round piece, and I'm just as impressed with that same ability here, but it's being applied so differently. Like, but she's still just like killing it with the contrast.
And that U-shaped arch behind her that's forming with the ballerina's arms. That is a pro composition move.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. You can really feel like the extension of the body. And Mona, I love what you said about the background earlier about there being like a spookiness or an eeriness there. It really serves to create a lot of the tone of the emotional tone of this piece. Is there's almost like a forlorn quality to the background, and then there's this like celebration of body movement. It's a cool concept.
The very ethereal emotion that it's giving out.
That is totally the perfect word. Incredible. And again, so impressive that Elena is so early on in her artistic journey, being 18 years old.
Even though Shirley's piece is the same idea as her previous one, I feel like this has a totally different vibe.
Yeah, I agree. She's done. I feel like this one is more joyful. Like I loved the other one. The other one felt more like capturing the immediate moment, and I feel like there was a bit more intensity in this one or in that one. This one feels like there's like she's really getting the joyfulness that Sherry and V have at the easel, and I think that that's a very unique ability.
I think it's because she's just capturing two artists face to face
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy competition matter. But the previous one was just studying one artist's movement.
So cool. I wonder whether or not Shirley does a lot of uh, live painting in this style. But I would love to see just a room full of this. Oh, here's our countdown.
Okay, so the winner for this round and the advancing in the tournament is Elena Hill.